Listen guys, I'm a pretty good mechanic and I do a lot to my cars to make sure that I'm modifying them tastefully and I'm doing the right maintenance in a best-in-class way to make sure that they stay running. But over the last few weeks, all three of my cars have broken down and had catastrophic failures. I'm at a total loss right now. I don't know what to do, but today we're going to get into it and I'm going to tell you guys what happened with all three of these vehicles. My name's Hovey. This is Slow Car HQ. Let's get to it. Up first is the Monte Carlo, and you guys might notice it's not here. And that's because a few weeks ago I was driving to my parents' house and out of nowhere I lost first, second, and overdrive. When I got to my parents' house, I scanned it and found out that both my shift solenoids and my torque converter controller were bad. And in order to fix that, we have to remove the caliper, the brake disc, the spindle, the CV axle, three of the four motor mounts, and then lower the cradle so you can angle the engine and rip the transmission case in half. Then we can just get to what we need to get to. And when we're there, it just makes sense to replace the internal transmission harness. Oh, and what we found out along the way is that nobody carries these parts, so we had to wait several days in between for them to come in online from like 4 different shops. After about 12 or 13 hours of labor, we finally get everything back together, and as we're reassembling, my steering intermediate shaft breaks. Now, this was just icing on top of the cake. It's really not that hard to fix. It's just cumbersome. It's annoying to get to. We go ahead and replace that. My steering, tight as can be, so maybe it needed to be replaced anyway. But ultimately, we get the thing back together. We take the car for a drive. It's running fine, but we don't have first gear. So we bring it back to my dad's garage. We scan it again. Shift solenoid B is still bad, meaning that maybe I got a bad part. Maybe I have a PCM issue. Maybe it's something completely unrelated that I just haven't figured out yet. We're gonna get it figured out, but it's just like so stressful that after doing all that work and thinking that you got the job done, working on the internals of a transmission, which is kind of an intimidating job to begin with, and finding out that we didn't get it done right and now we have to redo it all over again, just not what you're looking to see. Regardless, guys, the Monte Carlo will live, but let's talk about why the others won't. Up next is the B Series Civic, and I'm really not that concerned about this one. Here's the story. Okay, so a long time ago, this car was living in Pennsylvania, and somebody knew a little bit about what they were doing. They dropped in a B18C1 from an Integra GSR with a ton of questionable wiring, but the car ran. Then the car ends up in Dallas with a very typical Honda owner. Didn't treat it right, didn't do any maintenance, gutted the interior. You guys know how it goes. Then I get my hands on the car and I spend 2 years trying to make this thing right. And I'm just touching every component that was ignored. You know, my coilovers had literally 0 bushings on them, so we got those replaced with some Megan Racing coilovers. We built the interior, we rewired about 40 feet of the car, and we just addressed everything that was wrong with it while we were modifying it. One thing that I never touched on this car was the brakes. Now, I never touched the brakes on this car because simply I never needed to until I did. This car's rocking drums in the rear and discs up front, and they are the EG discs. Out of nowhere, I just ran out of brakes. Thankfully, I was driving in my apartment parking lot, so I just e-brake and engine brake, and it was fine. Nobody got hurt, but I did realize that we needed to replace the brakes on this thing. Pulled it into the garage, got it up in the air, saw the screws that hold the rotors in are completely stripped, so I figured, hey, that's a job for another day. And then for whatever reason, I had no brake fluid in the master cylinder. And guys, brake fluid doesn't evaporate, it doesn't burn, it doesn't go away, it leaks. And I've never noticed a leak underneath this car. So I was a little bit perplexed as to where it was going, so I filled it up. We're actually holding brake fluid now, but my brakes, even after bleeding, still aren't right. I'm thinking maybe I have a caliper seized, maybe a proportioning valve's bad, maybe I am leaking brake fluid and I'm just not seeing it. But I also decided, why would I go ahead and replace these brakes? You know, if something's broken, you gotta upgrade it. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. I'm doing the big brake upgrade kit from an Integra, and if you guys don't know, it's an Integra spindle, and then you kind of Frankenstein some parts from a CRV, and from a Mini Cooper, and from an Acura TSX. So I'm sourcing those parts. I've got about half of what I need, and I figure when we fix these brakes, we're just going to go ahead and do the big brake upgrade, and we're going to be really well off. So needless to say, this car does run. But it just won't drive very far before the brakes fail. I'm going to pull this one into the garage, do that swap. We're going to make an awesome video about it. And the Civic will be back on the road. Let's talk about the truck. So, based on this oil leak, the truck should be sitting right here, but it's not. Now look guys, the truck is another one that's completely my fault for two reasons. For starters, my dad got his trailer. He was helping my brother-in-law pick up a swing set for his grandchildren. So we had the trailer out. I'm on the phone with my dad and I was like, oh, you've already got the trailer. I'm good to break down. Why did I say that? That's just gonna guarantee that you're gonna break down, and that's exactly what happened. Now guys, cars are a lot like women. If you treat them right and if you do the work on them and you do things correctly, it's like the car can sense that you're treating it correctly and it's going to start breaking down on you. Really, the science behind that is if you start doing the maintenance that's been neglected, the car is going to tell you where the weakest link is, and that's exactly what's happening on my truck. We've done a lot to that thing to get it running right, and it's telling us where the failure points are. When I was driving, my fuel pump went out and I broke down on the road. We weren't getting fuel to the cylinders, so the truck wouldn't run. Dad picked me up, we put it on the trailer, brought it out to the shop, and we're going to do a fuel pump. Now, doing a fuel pump, not the end of the world. You basically lift the bed off, and the bed's fiberglass, so it's not that hard. It's like 6 bolts too, so not that big a job. Pop open the tank, pull out the fuel pump assembly, put the new hanger in, plug in the lines, and you're good to go. Really not that big of a job, but what bothers me is that is a 350 SBC. It's the daily, it's supposed to be reliable, and when you buy a car off Facebook, of course the previous owner never had these issues, but now that I'm taking care of the truck, I do have the issues, so we got to take care of it. At the end of the day, it is good maintenance for the truck. It's going to have a nice fuel pump, and we're probably never going to have to do it again.
What's up, baby? It's Slow Car HQ. It is 11:30 on a Thursday, so the day before I'm posting this video, and just wanted to give you guys an update. I am currently sitting in my OBS that I just drove home like 30 or 40 miles. Here's the story. So, I broke down. We thought it was the fuel pump. I probably just explained that a few minutes ago, but we thought it was the fuel pump, so we brought it to the shop. We lifted the bed off, so basically we took like a hoist situation, ran some ratchet straps under it, unbolted it, and lifted the bed up so we could access the fuel pump. Crustiest thing that I have ever seen in my life. I mean, the hard lines coming off the fuel hanger assembly, you could literally crumple them with your hands. That was going to become a major problem sometime soon, so it was really good maintenance to get that done. We get the new fuel pump in, and what do you know? The truck still doesn't run because I'm having the best of luck lately. So anyway, then we start jumping a couple wires. We run a hot wire from the battery to the prime wire of the fuel pump just to see if we maybe got a bad part. And what do you know? We didn't. So then we start tracing it backwards, and we have a really weak signal. We tap into the power wire of the fuel line on the factory harness, so not on the connector end, but on the plug side. So we have a really weak signal, and we're like, that's really weird. So we start checking fuses, and then we run that hot wire, and then we pull off the breather, and we're checking the injector, and all of a sudden we don't have any spray coming out of our injectors. So we think, what are the odds that they went bad at the same time? But maybe that was the problem from the beginning. We do a ton more diagnosis, and ultimately what we find out is my ECM1 fuse was blown. We think that fuse blew because the fuel pump shorted out and then blew the fuse, which is what it's supposed to do. But the ECM controls the fuel pump motor and it controls the injectors. So if that fuse is blown, you won't have anything, you won't get fuel into the cylinders, and the truck will not run. So realistically, my fuel pump did need to be replaced, but the actual root cause was the ECM1 fuse blowing, which was probably triggered by the fuel pump grounding out. Needless to say, we're at 1 out of our 3 cars running. That's progress. This is Slow Car HQ. This is the best car content on YouTube. What are you talking about? Let's get the other 2 running.
Now look guys, if you know anything about working on cars, you know that this exact stuff is replicated 25 times across 25 different cars. This is just how this stuff goes. And you can't become the best mechanic in the world without experiencing trials. And I'm experiencing the trials. And look guys, I love working on cars. I love working on my cars. But the problem right now is that the work I'm doing onto my cars is work that my cars are dictating for me. You know, it's not work that I want to be doing to these cars. It's not the cool, fun modifications that I want to do. It's stuff that I have to do to get them running. And that can be really frustrating. And then when you're waiting on parts and you're getting the wrong parts and you're having to redo work and unexpected breakdowns, and the fact that this is all happening at once, that's super frustrating. Regardless, though, it's situations like this that are going to help you learn so much about your applications and about what kind of mechanic you are. If you're going to lose your head and quit and sell the car, or if you're going to persevere, figure out the problems, overcome it, and get it back going. That's what we're going to do because this is Slow Car HQ. So, guys, we're going to have all these cars back on the road and we're going to keep delivering awesome modifications in a best in class way, get through these headwinds because that's just part of the job. And we're going to keep delivering awesome content to you guys. Again, this is Slow Car HQ. This is the next big car channel on YouTube. And this is the story about how I became the best mechanic in the world. So if you guys want to see that content, stick around, hit that follow, and join the next big car channel.